Chapter 12 of the Elusive Pimpernel by Baroness Orsay. Read for LibriVox.org by Karen Savage in January 2008. Chapter 12. Time, Place, Conditions. It would be very difficult indeed to say why, at Blakeney's lightly spoken words, an immediate silence should have fallen upon all those present. All the actors in the little drawing-room drama, who had played their respective parts so unerringly up to now, had paused a while, just as if an invisible curtain had come down, marking the end of a scene and the interval during which the players might recover strength and energy to resume their roles. The Prince of Wales, as foremost spectator, said nothing for the moment, and beyond the doorway, the audience there assembled seemed suddenly to be holding its breath, waiting, eager, expectant, palpitating, for what would follow now. Only here and there the gentle frou-frou of a silk skirt, the rhythmic flutter of a fan, broke those few seconds' deadly, stony silence. And yet it was all simple enough. A fracas between two ladies, the gentleman interposing, a few words of angry expostulation, then the inevitable suggestion of Belgium or of some other country where the childish and barbarous custom of settling such matters with a couple of swords had not been as yet systematically stamped out. The whole scene, with but slight variations, had occurred scores of times in London drawing-rooms. English gentlemen had scores of times crossed the Channel for the purpose of settling similar quarrels in continental fashion. Why should the present situation appear so abnormal? Sir Percy Blakeney, an accomplished gentleman, was past master in the art of fence, and looked more than a match in strength and dexterity for the meagre, sable-clad little opponent who had so summarily challenged him to cross over to France in order to fight a duel. But somehow everyone had a feeling at this moment that this proposed duel would be unlike any other combat ever fought between two antagonists. Perhaps it was the white, absolutely stony and unexpressive face of Marguerite which suggested a latent tragedy. Perhaps it was the look of unmistakable horror in Juliette's eyes, or that of triumph in those of Chauvelin, or even that certain something in His Royal Highness's face, which seemed to imply that the Prince, careless man of the world as he was, would have given much to prevent this particular meeting from taking place. Be that as it may, there is no doubt that a certain wave of electrical excitement swept over the little crowd assembled there, the while the chief actor in the little drama, the inimitable dandy Sir Percy Blakeney himself, appeared deeply engrossed in removing a speck of powder from the wide black satin ribbon which held his gold-rimmed eyeglass. "Gentlemen," said His Royal Highness suddenly, "we are forgetting the ladies. My Lord Hastings," he added, turning to one of the gentlemen who stood close to him, "I pray you to remedy this unpardonable neglect. Men's quarrels are not fit for ladies' dainty ears." Sir Percy looked up from his absorbing occupation. His eyes met those of his wife. She was like a marble statue, hardly conscious of what was going on around her. But he, who knew every emotion which swayed that ardent and passionate nature, guessed that beneath that stony calm there lay a mad, almost unconquerable impulse, and that was to shout to all these puppets here the truth, the awful, the unanswerable truth, to tell them what this challenge really meant: a trap, wherein one man consumed with hatred and desire for revenge hoped to entice a brave and fearless foe into a death-dealing snare. Full well did Percy Blakeney guess that for the space of 1 second his most cherished secret hovered upon his wife's lips. One turn of the balance of fate, one breath from the mouth of an unseen sprite, and Marguerite was ready to shout: "Do not allow this monstrous thing to be! The Scarlet Pimpernel, whom you all admire for his bravery and love for his daring, stands before you now, face to face with his deadliest enemy, who is here to lure him to his doom." For that momentous second, therefore, Percy Blakeney held his wife's gaze with the magnetism of his own. All there was in him of love, of entreaty, of trust and of command went out to her through that look, with which he kept her eyes riveted upon his face. Then he saw the rigidity of her attitude relax. She closed her eyes in order to shut out the whole world from her suffering soul. She seemed to be gathering all the mental force of which her brain was capable for one great effort of self-control. Then she took Juliette's hand in hers, and turned to go out of the room. The gentlemen bowed as she swept past them, her rich silken gown making a soft "shh, shh, shh" as she went. She nodded to some, curtsied to the Prince, and had at the last moment the supreme courage and pride to turn her head once more towards her husband, in order to reassure him finally that his secret was as safe with her now, in this hour of danger, as it had been in the time of triumph. She smiled and passed out of his sight, preceded by Desiree Candeille, who, escorted by one of the gentlemen, had become singularly silent and subdued. In the little room now there only remained a few men. Sir Andrew Ffoulkes had taken the precaution of closing the door after the ladies had gone. Then His Royal Highness turned once more to Monsieur Chauvelin, and said with an obvious show of indifference: "Faith, monsieur, meseems we are all enacting a farce which can have no final act. I vow that I cannot allow my friend Blakeney to go over to France at your bidding. Your government now will not allow my father's subjects to land on your shores without a special passport, and then only for a specific purpose." "La, your Royal Highness," interposed Sir Percy, "I pray you have no fear for me on that score. My engaging friend here has, and I mistake not, a passport ready for me in the pocket of his sable-hued coat, and as we are hoping effectually to spit one another over there, gadzooks, but there's the specific purpose. Is it not true, sir," he added, turning once more to Chauvelin, "that in the pocket of that exquisitely cut coat of yours you have a passport, name in blank perhaps, which you had specially designed for me?" It was so carelessly, so pleasantly said, that no one save Chauvelin guessed the real import of Sir Percy's words. Chauvelin, of course, knew their inner meaning. He understood that Blakeney wished to convey to him the fact that he was well aware that the whole scene to-night had been prearranged, and that it was willingly and with eyes wide open that he walked into the trap which the revolutionary patriot had so carefully laid for him. "The passport will be forthcoming in due course, sir," retorted Chauvelin evasively, "when our seconds have arranged all formalities." "Seconds be demmed, sir," rejoined Sir Percy placidly. "You do not propose, I trust, that we travel a whole caravan to France?" "Time, place and conditions must be settled, Sir Percy," replied Chauvelin. "You are too accomplished a cavalier, I feel sure, to wish to arrange such formalities yourself." "Nay, neither you nor I, Monsieur... Chauvelin," quoth Sir Percy blandly, "could, I own, settle such things with persistent good humour, and good humour in such cases is the most important of all formalities. Is it not so?" "Certainly, Sir Percy. As for seconds, perish the thought. 1 second only, I entreat, and that one a lady, the most adorable, the most detestable, the most true, the most fickle amidst all her charming sex. Do you agree, sir?" "You have not told me her name, Sir Percy." "Chance, monsieur, chance! With His Royal Highness' permission, let the wilful jade decide." "I do not understand." 3 throws of the dice, monsieur. Time, place, conditions, you said. 3 throws, and the winner names them. Do you agree?" Chauvelin hesitated. Sir Percy's bantering mood did not quite fit in with his own elaborate plans. Moreover, the ex-ambassador feared a pitfall of some sort, and did not quite like to trust to this arbitration of the dice box. He turned quite involuntarily in appeal to the Prince of Wales and the other gentlemen present. But the Englishman of those days was a born gambler. He lived with the dice box in one pocket and a pack of cards in the other. The Prince himself was no exception to this rule, and the first gentleman in England was the most avowed worshipper of hazard in the land. "Chance, by all means," quoth His Highness gaily. "Chance, chance," repeated the others eagerly. In the midst of so hostile a crowd, Chauvelin felt it unwise to resist. Moreover, 1 second's reflection had already assured him that this throwing of the dice could not seriously interfere with the success of his plans. If the meeting took place at all, and Sir Percy had now gone too far to draw back, then of necessity it would have to take place in France. The question of time and conditions of the fight, which at best would be only a farce, only a means to an end, could not be of paramount importance. Therefore he shrugged his shoulders with well-marked indifference and said lightly: "As you please." There was a small table in the centre of the room, with a settee and 2 or 3 chairs arranged close to it. Around this table now an eager little group had congregated. The Prince of Wales in the forefront, unwilling to interfere, scarce knowing what madcap plans were floating through Blakeney's adventurous brain, but excited in spite of himself at this momentous game of hazard, the issues of which seemed so nebulous, so vaguely fraught with dangers. Close to him were Sir Andrew Ffoulkes, Lord Anthony Dewhurst, Lord Grenville, and perhaps a half-score gentlemen, young men about town mostly, gay and giddy butterflies of fashion, who did not even attempt to seek in this strange game of chance any hidden meaning, save that it was one of Blakeney's irresponsible pranks. And in the centre of the compact group, Sir Percy Blakeney, in his gorgeous suit of shimmering white satin, one knee bent upon a chair, and leaning with easy grace, dice-box in hand, across the small gilt-legged table. Beside him, ex-ambassador Chauvelin, standing with arms folded behind his back, watching every movement of his brilliant adversary, like some dark-plumaged hawk hovering near a bird of paradise. "Place first, monsieur?" suggested Sir Percy. "As you will, sir," assented Chauvelin. He took up a dice-box which one of the gentlemen handed to him, and the 2 men threw. "'Tis mine, monsieur," said Blakeney carelessly, "mind to name the place where shall occur this historic encounter 'twixt the busiest man in France and the most idle fop that e'er disgraced